Hello, everyone, and welcome to Bookcraft, a podcast that looks at all the stories from every side. Today, I am joined by Amanda, and she is an incredible author. She writes fantasy. She takes mythology, weaves it into her stories, a bit of dark academia as well. She lives in one of my favorite places in the world, Banff, Alberta, which is out in the Rocky Mountains. Amanda has also ventured into doing bookish items, which we're going to talk about as well, and she's just finished her first Kickstarter. Welcome, Amanda.
Thanks for having me, Colleen. I'm happy to
Excellent.
be here.
I'm so happy for you to be here. You have had an incredible couple of months. You just finished your Kickstarter campaign and you crushed not only your goal, but you did some stretch goals. So like, walk me through what it was like to actually do a Kickstarter campaign.
Yeah, so um, for indie authors, there aren't really many ways that you can do physical book pre-orders. So Amazon only does ebooks, as some of you may know. So no paperback or hardcover editions can go through the Amazon. So I was looking at some different crowdfunding platforms, and Kickstarter was just the one I happened to choose. So getting into the Kickstarter, for me, I do a lot of in-person events. So one of the most substantial costs I have as an indie creator is my print run. So the print run, for like The Tale of Corey, I used all of my The Tale of Corey was my first book in my series, The Fruit of Life and Death. Um, yeah, right there. My copy is in one of
I'm
these.
holding up, for those of you listening, I'm holding up The Tale of Corey, and Amanda has hers with a beautiful, I don't have sprayed edges, but you have the beautiful sprayed edges.
Yeah, the snake skin. So that was my first book, and I covered all costs up front myself. Um, I was willing to do that as well for the next book, The Rise of Haduwas, which is the prequel. But I figured I already have a readership, so if people wanted it ahead of time, I may as well at least try and do some kind of pre-order so that it can at least give people the opportunity to help fund it up front. And we've done it. So the print run, um, I go through a printer in Calgary, Supreme Printing, and they do wonderful work. They've printed my second print run of The Tale of Corey, my fairy tale fantasy guided journal, and my short story collection. And it was very easy to set the Kickstarter up. It was like very intuitive, the process. Um, I would say the hardest was figuring out costs, just because it changes based on scale.
Mhm.
So being able to determine, like, as a first time indie author with one book out, it's not like I have a full series. So a lot of the Kickstarter will do like special editions where they already have a readership and they have all the books out and they're doing every single one of them together in a series drop. So they get a lot more momentum because the context behind their career. So I wasn't really sure how to determine what like amounts, to what should be the funding goal, what should be the stretch goals, and like making sure that I not only keep in mind enough for when it scales, but also the fees that Kickstarter takes as well.
Yes.
So math is not my strong suit, friends. I am a writer. So it took a bit of trial and error, but I think I got everything right, I think. Because I was willing to still like I have all the savings I need for the print run anyway.
Mhm.
So it just kind of helps the financial atmosphere, the loop, to have the Kickstarter.
Yeah.
Um, in terms of actually setting it up, um, I'm not a graphic designer either. But I actually had a lot of fun doing all of the graphics and figuring out what was going to be in each pledge and figuring out what should be available versus like simplistic versus everything I could possibly give. I wanted it to be kind of streamlined enough that given that it's my first one, that it's not super hard to fulfill.
Mhm.
So I figured I will do like ebook and I go through book funnel for that. And
Yes.
they have a feature, I think you told me about it, where they have digital signings for the ebook. So I'm
Yes.
looking into that as well, so that even my international um, book people friends who bought can get a signed copy of the ebook as well. Um, the sprayed edges for the Rise of Haduwas, I am so excited for. They look like flames. My husband, well, he's not my husband yet, fiance, but husband, he's my hubby.
Yeah.
He's doing all of the sprayed edges, and he also does all of the sewing for the book sleeves that we make.
Yes, and the book sleeves are gorgeous, and because
Yeah,
they're, like, super soft, like,
yeah,
pillowy book sleeves.
yes, yes. So we
Yes.
get all of it from Canmore at Sugar Pine, the quilting shop there.
Oh, wonderful.
So it's all locally sourced and everything. But yeah, like it was kind of hard, like with managing my expectations for Kickstarters. Like you see some of these go all the way into like really high five figures, six figures even. And you have to kind of manage the like ups and downs of the emotions of like the very first bit where it goes super fast. And then there's like 30 days of nothing. And then the final 3 days where that's where all the activity happens again.
Yeah.
So it was a little bit of an emotional roller coaster. So one of the things I would really recommend is trying to like manage expectations, don't it's good to hope, but don't get disappointed if it doesn't reach, your highest stretch goal. So like one of the stretch goals I wanted to reach was an audiobook. Um,
Yes.
we did not make the audiobook, but that's okay. It just means that it just won't be released at the same time as the rest of the book,
Yeah.
like when it's first released. So
And I
yeah,
think a lot of people, like, when they see some of these big Kickstarters where, like, Ali Hazelwood just did one, and I last time I looked, it was at, like, $70,000. And those are amazing, but then you also have to think about you've gotta fulfill a lot of pledges. So, like, with yours, which I love, which I'm getting the paperback with the sprayed edges, thank you.
yeah, yeah,
But what I loved well, and you had great goals, you had them set out really well, and you had your add-ons there, so it made it, like, really easy, but it's manageable for you as somebody who, it's you and your husband that are running this business together.
yeah,
And so I think, when you start to have those ones that are really, really high, then you're like, okay, what friends and family members are also helping me with all of this? Because you got to
yeah,
get the goals out in a timely fashion as well.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
So for that, like I did have like um kind of what do you call it? The words are failing me at the moment. I'm best when I can edit what I say. I my brilliance shines on paper.
Yes.
So I had kind of like a buffer of
Yes.
like funds that I had built into the price for if it went crazy. Um, and I didn't have any like max, like sometimes like on you can have it where you have for some of the more complicated fulfillment tiers. So
Yeah.
like my $300 tier as an example, you can have it where you have a max of like 10 people can get it or 100 people can get it. I didn't do that because I did not think mine was going to be a viral, Kickstarter. Most of my career has been building on um continuity and, you know, doing this, not I'm very much a 1 to 10, 10 to 20, 20 to 30 building. That's how my career has kind of gone instead of anything being, viral or like instant overnight success. That's
Yeah.
not really how my career has gone. So I didn't really think I needed to do that, but I did put a buffer in, and the buffer was for renting like a storage unit for us to do fulfillment
Mm,
in that time. So I did have a contingency plan
yeah.
in case that happened.
And there's some authors that do that. I was listening to this author on the podcast the other day, and she was talking about how she manages her business, and she does exactly that. She does a Kickstarter, she rents a place, has everybody come in, works for like 2 weeks, fulfills everything, and then goes back to, in her little hidey hole writing cave and
Yeah, yeah,
writes. And,
yeah,
there's a good strategy behind that because one, renting space is horrendously expensive.
yeah,
And two, you're managing it in short bursts, and like you said, it's that building. and for somebody like you, because you do so many in-person events, do you find that, as you do more of those in-person events, that you get more recognition from people as they come from one event to the next? They're like, wait a second, I know you. I've seen you. Oh, what's new? What's exciting?
Not quite yet, but
Okay.
that's also because I've only ever done events in Banff. So
Okay.
I've only done the Banff Farmers Market every Wednesday, and I've only ever done the Banff Christmas Market,
Yeah.
because I don't drive. I
There
don't
you
drive, Colleen. So, um, that is probably the biggest hurdle for me expanding in events because I'm at the mercy of my fiance being able to get time off to then do the event with me, but it also means that we do it together, and
Yes.
I love that. I love working with him. He's, a treasure.
Yes. And
Yeah,
he's so Amanda and I've been at the same events together in Banff,
yeah.
and I love that you guys work your booth together. My sweetie and I, we are not super compatible with working the booth together because I love him dearly, but he sells way different than I do.
Yeah,
I'm like, please just like my stuff. And he's like, hey, who are you? Come over here. Come talk to me. And I'm like, my God.
yeah, yeah, yeah. We're both Darian and I are both, um, similar in personality. I think
Yeah.
we both come across as very serious.
Yeah.
I think especially when I'm at the booth, I think my seriousness comes out before my whimsical crackhead energy. I think that comes out when I know you.
Yeah.
Whereas, like, for him, he is the very serious as well, but I think we both are serious but approachable, and
Yeah.
so we kind of do well. Sometimes, for me, it's an energy thing, where it's like sometimes the sales aren't happening. I was like, okay, it's because of one of us. I'm gonna go walk around. If sales happen, I'm gonna just keep moving around, and you keep making the sales because I think I'm doing something to the energy. So I'm very much a mood based seller. If
Yeah.
I'm having a bad day, I don't have good sales.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
And it's
it's
hard
felt.
because, you kind of have to be that you're on when you're at a market. And especially when there are those long days, like till 8 o'clock at night where you're just going, okay, how many more things can I eat today to just keep myself going?
Yeah, yeah. Um, the 10 to 8 shows are, definitely hard.
Yes.
I have I bring baby food because it's shelf stable,
Yeah.
in the little packets, and
Yeah.
then it's just like applesauce or whatever I have, and it's just easy to have on the go, and that's kinda how I do it. Because otherwise, I'm spending all my money on the wonderful vendors who are selling their wares beside me.
Yes. I know.
And
I
it's like,
this
"Okay, well, I need to sell 4 more books to just make up what I just bought in food today."
I do the same. I'm like, okay, I've made this many sales, but I just spent $45 on food.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
and it's delicious food.
yeah. No, it's so difficult, especially when I was next to, um,
At Banff, you were by the empanada
the
guy.
farm yeah, no, but in the farmer's market, I'm
Oh,
next to a charcuterie to go station.
oh, geez.
I
Oh,
know.
I know. Okay, I know who you're talking about. Yeah, delicious.
So not fair, yo.
I
Setting me
know.
up for failure.
Exactly.
Watching everyone walking around with their crackers, meat, and cheese, and I'm like, "Buy my book!" And they're like, "No, I have sausage finger.
Yeah,
I can't touch."
I love that. When you're thinking about, like, when you're at markets or like, where does your inspiration come from? Like, is it when you're having a walk? Like, because you do a lot of research for your books, which I like. I love all the detail, the research. I'll hold it up again for those that are watching. So this is Amanda's first book, The Tale of Corey, which is
Yeah.
beautiful, shiny cover. But where, like, the research, the inspiration, where does it come from to put this all together into these books?
Mhm. Okay, so for the Tale of Corey, my character is a classics student in her master's degree, and she's taking a seminar on the ancient Greek cults of Greece, and I actually took that exact course in university. And I have the textbook somewhere, it's probably in my place. not here. Um, and I had the textbook and everything, and I was going through it, and it's like it was kind of less for it was more of a subliminal thing that was in the back of my head as I was doing this. I went through school, like I did 5 years of school. I did English literature, classical history, and then a certificate in publishing.
Amazing.
And in my fourth and fifth year was COVID.
Oh, good
Yeah,
times.
yeah. So, um, by the end of like university, like I actually dropped out with 3 classes left.
Yeah.
I was like, whatever. At this point, like I was dean's list. I had everything going, but I was like, it's not worth. There were things that were happening that I didn't agree with. So anyway, I came back home, was unemployed for 3 years. I kept every textbook, I kept every book, you know, as one does. And I had this book in the back of my mind, and all of a sudden this scene kind of showed up. So a lot of what my work starts as is like short format, like
Okay.
short story. So like the very first book I published at 16 was a short story I submitted in grade 8 English.
Wow.
Mm. Yeah, it was nothing special. It wasn't good. It was a my teacher demands short story. Here it is, you know. But it grew into something else. And so for this one, it started off as not really a short story, just kind of almost like a vignette,
Okay.
like a scene, vibes. There were vibes. And from there, it grew into something else. And then I had all of this in the back of my mind. I was like, well, I love the secret history. I love if we were villains.
Mm,
The secret history, it's for those who don't know it, it follows this like liberal arts college, and there's these students, and they're in a program that accepts like 5, 6 students max, and it's like very hands-on learning. They're kept separate from like the other disciplines, and they get into stuff, and it's very much like they're learning Latin, they're learning Greek, they're learning history, like all the stuff that I was really obsessed with. And they're like, "Oh, well, let's do cult worship of Dionysus," and then they do, but it's all unreliable. None of it happens on page, and then it's just the ramifications of what happens after that cult worship. Whereas for mine, it's more like, "Hey, what if we did a cult worship?" And then it works, and then that's where the fantasy comes in.
excellent.
So that's kind of where that gets shoehorned. But then also, I almost quit writing the book because Madeline Miller, she had news that she was writing a Persephone book.
Yes.
And so still not out, but there was news of it. And I quit writing for 5 months after that, this book, like The Tale of Corey, because I was like, she's one of my favorite writers. Why even bother writing a Persephone book when hers is about to come out and be much better than mine and blow mine out of the water? You know, I was like in that headspace.
Yeah.
And then I was like, you know what? F it.
Just
And
do
then I did
it.
it.
Yes.
Yeah. So I think a lot of it is just like getting out of my own way.
Yeah. And I think, you know, you, for me, like I have a harder time selling my book than my dad. Like my dad sells my book way better than I do. But
Yeah.
for me, it's like, here's my heart. I
Yeah,
hope you
take it. Don't rip
please
it up.
don't crush it.
Yeah.
Yeah. And you do have to get out of your way. And I think it's also, you have a unique spin on what you did, and you're writing it the way that you want to write it. Madeline Miller is going to write whenever it comes out. It's going to be in her style.
Yes.
And there's lots of Hades and Persephone books out there.
Yes.
And I kind of read all of them because I love seeing what people do as a take. And it's like,
Yeah.
okay, what's the underworld going to be this time?
Yeah. Yeah. My entire series is essentially an ode to the underworld gods, not just like Persephone and Hades, but it's like everything about Olympus is always like touted as like the ideal,
Yeah.
the best, you know? And it's like I don't necessarily believe that. Like you look at all of like the term is chthonic. Um I'm not sure I'm saying that right. It's Greek, but that's how I've always said it. Anyway, it's pertaining to the gods of the earth, meaning the underworld.
Hmm.
And there's a whole slew of them. And most of them are very in the periphery. Most of them don't have very many known myths,
Hmm.
but none of them are negative.
Yeah.
Whereas you look at any of the Olympians, you can find at least one highly horrific or highly negative thing about them, you know, and that's actually one of the things about Greek mythology that I really love is that they're all so very deeply flawed, and that's the point.
Yeah. And so what then led so the Rise of Haduwas, which is the Kickstarter that you did, the
Yeah.
next book that's coming out. So where did that sort of story come from in relation
Hmm.
to your first book?
Yeah. So there's in the section where my main character is in the underworld, there's a conversation that Hades has with her about his origins.
Okay.
And I was like, as I was writing it, it didn't really like pop out to me. Again, everything kind of happens in the periphery of my brain.
Yeah.
Things don't necessarily jump out and grab me. I actually am working on a project that has jumped out and grabbed me, and it's torn me a little bit away from the Rise of Haduwas, which is why the editing was not going too smoothly before, just because it was like clashing ideas, just grappling for my attention. But um, I had like the Tale of Cory is modern Greek mythology fantasy.
Yes.
I wanted to do something that was ancient, like very much ancient, older than even the Song of Achilles. The Song of Achilles is set during the Trojan War, obviously from the point of view of Patroclus and Achilles.
Yes.
Mine is even further back, where the time I'm writing in was ancient to the Trojan War people.
And did you put it as Bronze Age or earlier?
Bronze Age.
Bronze Age. Yes.
Yeah, yeah. It's like it's hard to give a date in terms of like early to middle Bronze Age because Bronze Age is a term for where people like where cultures are at in terms of advancement with how they are with metalwork.
Okay.
So the Bronze Age of Greece is very different from the Bronze Age of, let's say, America. Those dates are different.
Yeah. Yeah.
So in terms of the cultures that you're talking, it might be actually closer to, the Iron Age than it is the Bronze Age for certain cultures. So not much. I'm writing about the Hittite culture. So the Hittite culture um, is part of Asia Minor, and they're kind of a warring nomadic group that was very, very prolific with horses.
Okay.
So think very like it. They're not equivalent, but think Mongols, think that kind of society. Not even Game of Thrones, the Dothraki, not equivalent, but very much a horse people, very much warrior, very much on the move. Though they did have capitals like the Dothraki did, Vice Dothrak. Um, I write in the gaps of history and myth. So
Yeah.
I like filling in the gaps, like where you asked about my inspiration earlier. So my inspiration is like if I'm reading an article, these all of these are articles. If I'm reading an article and there's like, well, we don't know, and
Yeah.
it where academia cannot go into speculation, that's where I like writing.
I love that. And so
So yeah.
do you have then a writing process? So if you've got this nugget and you're like, okay, that's the space, that's where I want to write, then do you research first or do you start writing down ideas or
It's
how does
kind
it
of a
work for you?
mishmash. It's
You
kind of
do
a
what?
mishmash. Yeah, it's a mishmash a bit because if I'm struck with thoughts that I think will disappear, and they always do, I will write them. And when that starts to slow down, then I'll be like, okay, I've gotten the premise at least on paper.
Yeah.
Anytime I get those like hits of inspiration, I just write it down wherever it might be. I have like 30 different notebooks because I can't commit to one. So it's a very disorganized process. Um, but I find it very hard to leave the research phase for this book. I have
Yeah.
found it very difficult to leave that space because it's like I am a sponge for this culture. I have read every book that I could get my hands on that even mentions it in passing.
Yeah.
While I still had access to my university email, I downloaded every single article that had a keyword with Hittite in it, anything that had Bronze Age, anything that had Anatolia, Asia Minor, um, the gods of that time, anything that had anything from the Sumer culture. Um, yeah, like it was just so much research.
Mhm.
And so I've kind of when I'm like, I annotate really heavily on those articles, and then I bring those notes into a document, and then that document is absolutely disorganized. So then I take that document and then organize it in the next document so that I have them side by side. So it's like this sideways process rather than like forward.
Yeah. Yeah.
Just because if it's disorganized, I'm gonna miss something. And like even right now, I read an article about Anatolian Hittite night rituals.
Okay.
And there was this one in particular where the prince has to lie on the ceiling, like on the roof of a building at night with a wheel of cheese above his head and something else. I'd have to look at the thing again. I don't know if it was a second wheel of cheese or if it was beer or something, but it was by his feet, and he had to not move until the sun came up. And that's just awesome. There's also like I was the way I figured seeing that is because he has this underworld journey that he has to undergo. And so one of the conflicts is kind of a corrupt priesthood. And so him having to jump through hoops to please this priesthood so that he can undermine them later, but he has to go like, low profile.
Yeah.
So he's just doing as they're saying, but he sees the ridiculousness of what he's doing, but he sees it kind of as arbitrary, but
Mhm.
he's doing these things. And I was like, well, that has to be a scene in my book, obviously, before they send him and allow him to go do this quest that they've demanded of him. They're going to make him do this absurd ritual,
Yeah.
100%, you know? And so the reason it's hard for me to stop the research is because I'm like, there's a scene. There's a scene somewhere that hasn't been written ever.
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
And I think that sometimes, like, things that readers love about books, when they're like, "Oh, that was so, that was well thought out. That scene really flowed," and they don't realize what the process that you're going through
yeah.
is distilling all of this information down into a document where you're like, "Yoink, here's the scene right here." And,
Yeah.
it's like one scene that you've spent, hours and hours of research and writing and stuff on. But
Yeah.
then the readers, when they enjoy it, they're like, "Oh, that was lovely." And you're like, "Yeah, but did you get all the things?"
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I almost want to like, I'm always tempted to do this, like, Shakespearean dictionary of footnotes at the bottom of each page for all the freaking research I do.
Yeah. Yeah.
Be like, "Did you know?" It's like the trivia of, like, Lord of the Rings when Viggo kicks the helmet and you're like, "Did you know he actually broke his toes?"
Yes. And it's
It's like,
all those.
I want to shout that at the screen while people are reading.
I know. For me, it's like you were talking earlier, even like a scene in the tale of Corey has then led to the rise of Haduwas. I love Easter eggs in books. I love it. When I read something, or if I'm watching something, I'm like, hold on, wait a second. Wait, okay, this was this and this was that, and
Yeah,
I love it. And
yeah.
so if I'm that kind of a reader, I know there's other readers out there that are doing the same thing and and
Mhm.
and getting into it. But that's, I think, for us, like, writing and being an author, I think that's part of the fun of it is,
Yeah,
are people picking up on that?
yeah, yeah. No, there's, heads up, there's lots of Easter eggs.
You're like,
Lots
just so
and
you know.
lots. And so I've even set it up already for like the next book. So the next book, I'm not sure if you're familiar. I'm not sure if I gave you the rundown of how my series is going to work. So there's an overarching series, The Fruit of Life and Death.
Yes.
The Tale of Corey is going to be a duology.
Okay.
And then the Hades is going to be a trilogy.
Happening before the duology in time,
Not
or
quite. So prequel, duology book one.
okay.
Trilogy sandwiches the duology,
Okay.
and so it's like 1 okay, sorry, zero point 0.5 is prequel, Tale of Korra is 1, 1.5, 2, 2.5.
Okay.
So it's woven,
Yeah.
not necessarily linear. You don't have to read The Tale of Korra to read the Hades trilogy. You don't have to read the Hades trilogy to understand the duology.
But it
But
adds.
they they really play off of each other.
That's
So
amazing.
some insider information, the next book in the Hades trilogy will be The Solitude of Hades.
Okay.
Yeah.
I I just had that as my question. What's coming out soon or
Yeah.
what's being worked on?
After. Yeah. So it's actually kind of a complicated question because there are some things that I want to do before I continue the series.
Okay.
Just because, so like I said before, something has gripped me. Something has just yoinked my attention, and that really doesn't happen very often. And I kind of don't want to let that feeling go away because I
Okay.
feel like if that feeling goes away, that won't get written.
Mhm. Mhm.
And that one is it's very dark fantasy. It's
Okay.
very dark fantasy. It's set in a metaphysical circus. Yeah. With very much it vibes, but not horror
Okay.
necessarily.
Okay.
Um, so it follows like the circus performer, and it's basically my take on the origin story of the fortune teller box.
Ooh, okay.
Yeah.
I'm I'm here for this. And I
Yeah.
like that you said not horror because I can't read horror.
Yeah, it's not horror. It's very dark though. There will be trigger warnings.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Um, because you're doing all the publishing yourself and like you can set your own schedule and set your own publishing schedule, do you feel like now that because this book has gripped you and you're
Mhm.
writing it, that you could take the time to explore it and you don't have to worry about, you've got this trilogy that you want to do, but you know it'll get done and you
Mhm.
can you can follow that passion for the story that gripped you.
Yeah, I do feel that, and I also have very flexible work. So
Okay.
that's the time is not the issue, it's the mindset.
Yeah.
Like wrestling with the brain is sometimes the hardest part, even when you have the time. And I actually find that it's harder when you do have the time because you don't have anything lit under you to make you do it.
Oh yeah.
I find my best work happens when I'm supposed to be doing something else.
Oh yes. Yes.
So, like it's like, I'm supposed to be editing the Rise of Haduwas. Guess what's not happening? I'm not editing the Rise of Haduwas. I'm writing this other thing. That's not actually happening. I am editing.
You're like
But
Kickstarter people, I'm editing, don't worry.
no, no, I have I'm gonna be submitting my dev edits this week. So it's
Nice.
getting done. And then my dev editor is also my line editor. So she's a part of the whole process with me,
Yeah.
which is nice.
That is
Um, yeah,
lots of like there's the continuity there. They know you, they know your writing style.
yeah.
Yeah. And they know what motivates you.
hmm And she also is familiar with myth, which I think for me was the hardest part. Like, The Tale of Corey was not originally edited by someone who was familiar with myth.
Okay.
And so I had issues with the editing because of that, where it was like they were cutting details that if someone had known myth, they would not be cutting. They're like,
Okay.
"Well, this seems like you don't ever mention it again." I'm like, "Yeah, but that's because it's an Easter egg for people who know myth."
Yeah.
Like, they're like, "Well, you never mention it again that she hates mint." And I was like, "Yeah, well, if you're familiar with the Hades and Persephone romance, Hades cheats on her with Minthy, who then Persephone turns into the original mint plant.
Yeah.
So the fact that this character hates mint is hilarious.
Yeah. And
Hilarious.
it's a big part, yeah, and it's a big part of the story and people will be like, "Oh, that's funny."
Yeah. So it's like things like that I found kind of hard to navigate with a general knowledge editor.
Yeah.
So finding the right editor is definitely hard. Like not only is it hard to find an editor point blank period, but finding one that is knowledgeable with niche topics I
Yeah.
found very difficult.
Well, and because this is your own publishing company, you're
Yeah.
doing your own books, you have to wear all those hats. And so you have to really be, if
Yeah.
somebody's not working out, you're the one that has to say, this isn't working. You don't have, somebody at a traditionally published company going, I'll deal with that for you. It's like, oh shoot,
Yeah. Yeah.
I gotta
No,
do this.
it's very there. I was saying this in the interview that I did earlier this month, but I made a lot of mistakes with my first book. I published my first book when I was 16,
Okay.
and I did something called hybrid publishing or vanity publishing, where you pay for most things to be done and they do it for you and then it's published.
Hmm.
It's similar to self-publishing because in self-publishing you pay for everything, but then you own all the rights.
Oh.
Hybrid is where I did maintain all the rights, but then they did none of the marketing. The editing was crappy. Had no say over the cover, no say over the price, no say where it was sold, like absolutely no say at all.
Yeah.
And it was like 10 grand for me to do that at 16. I saved everything for it and it was like, mistakes were made.
Yeah.
I learned from those and then published. That was back in 2016, well, 2015 when I had paid that, 2016 when it launched. And then I didn't publish again until The Tale of Corey, December 2024.
Yeah.
So it
Wow.
was a very large hiatus. Um, Lots of things were learned in that time. And I still made mistakes with The
Yeah.
Tale of Corey. It happens. It's part of it.
Yeah.
Um, and then I can only ensure I don't make the same mistakes and victoriously make new ones.
And I think that one of the things people don't realize is when you are the publishing company and the author and everything, like you want to write the books, but it's like, oh no, you need to market the books as well and you need to
Yep.
sell the books. And there are some days where I'm like, oh, friend, I do not want to do
Oh,
this. Like,
friend.
you know? And
I'm stealing that. Oh, friend.
yeah. So, and people are like, "Oh, just go on to, TikTok." And it's like, "But I live in Canada, and
Yeah.
it's not you don't put your thing on TikTok and it goes viral and suddenly you have 5 million books sold. Like that's not a thing." And even when I was trying to get everything organized, I was trying to figure out how to use Ingram Spark, and then my friend was like, "Okay, stop. You're driving yourself crazy."
Mhm.
But we're in Canada. Ingram Spark is not the end all be all. I mean, it has a monopoly and it doesn't support authors for a
At
damn, but
all. Yeah.
at all. People are like, oh, it's the best. No, it's actually
Sucks.
not.
I hate it.
Yeah. And people are like, oh, but Amazon's terrible. But Ingram Spark is no better. So,
Ingram is worse in my opinion.
yeah, they pay, at least Amazon pays me more.
Genuinely. Like I think I haven't sold much on Ingram. I have it there just because of distribution if bookstores want to buy the book.
But you still have to go to
But
those stores.
exactly. And like I'd rather do consignment anyway. Like most of the bookstores that I do, it's on consignment.
Yep.
And it's easy that way.
Yep.
There's no risk for them, no risk for me.
Yep.
Nothing I have to buy back if it doesn't work. No books are burned.
Yes. And I think that people don't realize that. They're like, oh, well, it just gets distributed to the bookstore. Yeah, but if the bookstore doesn't sell the books, they send them back and then you got paid for that as the
Yeah.
author.
Yeah.
And like, I tell
And
people,
Ingram Spark keeps their half,
oh,
their
yeah,
share.
yeah, they're not
And
giving
people
nothing
don't
back.
realize that. Like even if the book gets returned, Ingram Spark keeps getting paid. Author
Yeah,
doesn't.
I know.
Author goes into deficit.
Yeah. And I think for me, it's like, I'm at the point where I think, why hasn't somebody created something else and like take them off the map? Because I just don't understand why people keep giving them. I was
Yeah.
talking to an author friend I'm in a writing group, and she's like, so I just spent $50 to update my book on Ingram Spark. And she's like, and I just looked at my sales for the last year and I have hardly made $50. And she's like, why am I giving them money to put my book up?
Yeah.
Yeah. And so,
Yeah.
and the consignment thing though, that's something that was brand new to me. I was talking to a friend at an event and she's
Mhm.
like, oh, no, you can do consignment in the stores. And I was like, what? That's amazing. Like you said,
Yeah.
no risk for them, no risk for you. The book doesn't sell, take the book back. That's
Yeah.
easy peasy,
Yeah.
And I think too, because we have the option of print on demand now, I don't have to print 10,000 copies.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, with the there's two kind of I'm going to say schools of thought on the matter. There's POD and then obviously your print run.
Mhm.
So print on demand, print run. I err on print run personally
Mhm.
because of how many events I do. So like in 2025, I did 33 days.
Amazing.
This upcoming year, 2026, I have on my calendar 72 days.
And is that farmers markets and what?
All across Alberta.
Nice. That's amazing.
Yeah, so I'm doing everything from, well, I'm waiting to hear back on a lot of them, just because the
Application process?
yes, the
Yes.
application process is sometimes very large windows,
Yeah.
and then it's like, oh, you won't hear back for a couple months. So some of them I don't know yet, but I'm looking at doing some of the signatures shows,
Okay.
which is a handmade kind of
Yep.
show. Because I print everything myself, it's you know allowed, and I sent an email to verify that I was, like, qualified or, like, not disqualified, I guess,
Yeah.
and it seemed that I was okay to do it, so I'm gonna try doing all of those. There's an Edmonton one, a Lethbridge one, I believe, and then Calgary,
Yep.
or maybe it's Red Deer, I'm
They
not
have
sure.
yeah, they have some little ones as well. So they have the big ones like Butterdome
Yeah,
and at the Big Four in Calgary, I think you're at.
yeah,
Yeah. And then Red Deer has the one, I think it's at the Westerner. But yeah, and those are like people are coming with the expectation of buying from local
yeah,
artists. And
yeah.
that's
So I'm trying to do all of those, so we'll see how that goes. I'm doing a couple of Renaissance fairs,
oh.
which will be very fun, fantasy, so that works out. And then doing a couple of like one-off shows based on markets that I've found on Instagram.
Mhm.
Um, and I'm prepared. Like the thing with markets though is you also have to be prepared for them to flop. And I have not had a day yet where I have not at least made the vendor feedback.
Perfect.
So I'm this year is an F around and find out year for
Nice.
me.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And you have to do that. Like when I started the chocolate business, I did every single market to figure out what were the winners and what were the losers.
yeah,
And, now we have it distilled down to our two favorite markets where we know we can go and we're going to have our customers are going to come and support us there. And
yeah,
all the other ones, we've let them go. And because it's that, oh, we might make money at it, but we've learned where the shoppers are and where the tire kickers are.
yeah,
And we don't go where the tire kickers are anymore.
yeah. No, that's fair.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, like even like I don't have many numbers to go off of,
Mhm.
but in terms of like in-person sales, 2025 is way down for me from 2024.
Okay.
And for 2024, I did that one weekend at Banff Christmas Market.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's
And
crazy. Yeah.
your booth at that market, we were just down from you, and I'm watching every single person walking by with one of your books, and I was like, "What is happening? Where is this person?" I said to my boyfriend, "I'm going to find her," and you were like just down the row from me, which is when I bought
Yeah.
your book because I was
Yeah.
like, but I was listening to people as they're walking by, and there was one group of women, and the one had bought the book, and the other one said, "What's that?" "Well, I got it from that girl back there." "Well, let's all get a copy and we'll read it for the book club." And like they all came back and bought a copy. And I was like, that's perfect. Like those are your people.
Yeah. No, and it's really funny. Like a lot of people I try to make my signage and my everything very clear to what I write. So I don't usually get too many questions in terms of people that stop are either like, what kind of fantasy do you write? Or fantasy's not for me, and then they walk by.
Mhm.
People that see the Greek mythology, they don't even ask a question, they just hand me the book to silently sign. It's
Yeah.
really funny. It's really funny. Like the people that it's for, it's no questions.
Yeah.
They're like, immediately yes.
Yeah. Oh, I love that.
Immediately yes. Can you sign it?
Yes. Oh, that's so good. Well, our last question is where's the best place for people to actually find you?
Yeah. So in Banff, I would say is obviously the best place to find me just because that's where I'm from. I do all the Banff farmers markets every Wednesday, and that's usually from May to September,
October.
October.
Yeah.
Yeah, dependent on where the calendar lands. Um, And then I also do the Banff Christmas market. But on my website, I'm going to be having a list of all of the different events I'm doing, where they are. I'm going to be doing the expos. I'm doing an expo in Lethbridge, and I'm doing an expo in Calgary coming up soon. Um, yeah. Instagram. I'm active on Instagram, and that's at the Mythosmith. No caps, no spaces or anything.
Perfect. And I'll put that in
Um,
the show notes too.
Sounds good. Yep. I'm also in Cafe Books in Canmore. I'm in the Forbidden Library at Calgary. It's a romance bookstore. I'm in Dead Man's Flats liquor store. Shout out to my dad's liquor store.
Nice.
And I'm also in Artist Loft in Banff, which is right across from Magpie and Stump. It doesn't have a website yet, but that's where it is.
I love that. Lots of local places where people can find you, especially if they're coming to vacation in Banff, which many people do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
And
I
I will,
also sorry.
oh, no, and I was going to say, I'll put your website into the show notes as well.
Yeah, the website is, if you're not anywhere near me in Alberta or anything, I, ship all over Canada and the US.
Wonderful. And you're on Amazon as well. So if
Yep,
people are like, I just want to get a book, do you have an ebook on Amazon too?
yep. Ebook, it's also on Kindle Unlimited.
Perfect.
I sell yeah, I also sell handmade book goodies, so lots of different patterns. I have to update my website with all the patterns that I have. It's so hard to keep up with them.
Yes. Well,
But
that's because you've got a partner at home that's making them.
I know. God, giving me so much more work.
I love it. But it's fun because they are like for everybody listening or watching, I have seen them in person and those book sleeves are absolutely gorgeous. So I do love them. Well, congratulations again on your Kickstarter. That's so
Thank you so much.
exciting.
Yes.
Thank you for coming on the podcast today and chatting
Thank
books with
you.
me.
Thank
Yes.
you.
And for everybody out there, thank you for listening to Bookcraft today. However you enjoy your books, there's a place for you here. Thanks, everyone.